What's up, you guys? This is Fame Ready, the podcast to show entrepreneurs that literally anything is possible. Yes, including fame. And today I'm sitting down with a bit of a bone to pick. Okay. It is Monday morning when I'm recording this. It is pouring rain outside. As you can see, I'm literally wearing a turtleneck. I mean, a couple episodes ago, I was in a freaking tube top with a spray tan, and now we are back to winter Katrina. And why was summer so short? Honestly, that's not the bone I'm here to pick, though. But you know what's interesting? The past couple days for me have been challenging, as I think they often are for business owners. I mean, we all go through our own cycles, and like, I would be totally remiss if I didn't acknowledge just like the sheer amount of hormones that I'm probably experiencing right now. Not because I'm pregnant or anything like that, by the way, just so that doesn't get misconstrued. Simply because I like cycle watch, so I know where I'm at right now, and I can appreciate that a lot of the feelings I'm feeling are a combination of hormones, of the season changing up here in Vancouver, Canada, which is just really hard for me to grapple with. But also just the fact that, and I posted some social media content about this yesterday, but just the fact that I have so much going on in the next couple weeks that I am feeling the fear around a lot of this. And I mean, when this episode comes out, I really will be like in the midst of it all happening. So, just to give you guys some context, like I'm recording this a couple weeks in advance of all of the madness, but also amazing things that are happening in my business, my big event that I'm running, my brand partnership, speaking at an event, a potential awards winning potential awards winning. Maybe we should manifest that a little bit more. Winning an award that I really, really want. All of those things, those are all like coming up. And what I know for myself is that I can get a little bit cranky or nervous or anxious, I guess, probably makes sense whenever I have a lot of like really big things coming up, because let's acknowledge the fact that there's a lot of money invested into some of these things right now. And so I get a little bit like, it better work. It better work. And it can make me a little bit miserable. And what a terrible way to be. I mean, last week I got to go on vacation in the Okanagan with Gabriel, and my parents were there, and I hadn't seen them in a year, as well as some friends of theirs that I grew up with. We all lived on the same street. And so that was really nice. But I wasn't as present as I wish I could have been. And I think it's because I'm in the middle of like all of these different things happening. And I really set the intention to not really work last week, although I just had scheduled a couple different Zoom calls, all of which like did not go exactly as planned because my internet connection was not great. So there was that issue. And then just this, yeah, unshakable feeling that I have so much work to do and I'm taking a week off. And I think, I mean, I love my family. I do. I love my parents. It was so great to see them, but I have some family stuff that goes on in the background, as I know that we all do. And I think that also brings up some anxieties or feelings of discomfort. And while I love spending time with my parents, we can't simply like unacknowledge the fact that there's some shit. I mean, we all have that as families, right? So I'm no different. I Yeah, that's a whole thing. That's a whole thing that I don't know I will ever share because it's not really my story to tell. But yeah, so it was heavy. And then I came back and it was the weekend and I worked all through Saturday and Sunday. I actually love working on the weekends. And by working, I mean catching up on emails, digging into some client stuff, and then also doing some more like deep work in my own business. I find that I'm less distracted on the weekends. During the week, I always have like my inbox DMs blowing up. I have like my emails like are literally like this morning. Here's some context. So last night was Sunday. I zeroed out my inbox last night, you guys. I woke up and I already had 17 emails. And I was like, "Oh god. Okay, you can do this. Serenity now." And those are just the joys of being a business owner, I guess. I'm sure most of you listening to this are entrepreneurs or aspiring, so you know the hustle, but it can just feel like a lot. And in this season of dealing with a lot of my own shit, I am also carrying the weight of so many other people's thoughts, opinions, commentary. And I know I don't have to carry the weight of those things. I mean, I just finished Mel Robbins' Let Them, her book. That was all the rage. To be honest, I thought it was okay. I think I've probably done so much personal development and that kind of stuff over the last couple of years that it felt kind of like entry level personal development. So if that's something that you feel like you need, like you're new to that, great book to start with. But for me, I was kind of like, this kind of feels like things I already know, but a really easy read though. So, highly recommend. But I do find myself this week saying, let them all the fucking time. Um, because when you have a personal brand, like let me bring this back to the business for a second. When you have a personal brand, your business becomes deeply personal. And if you listen to previous episodes, like when I had KO Your Brand, I did an episode all about this. Like your personal brand and your personal life are actually not the same thing. I really believe in the professional personal brand, which in short is if it's something that directly relates to driving revenue to your business or income for you, then that is content or storytelling that should be shared. If it doesn't, we don't need to share it. So I keep a lot of my life private, a lot of the things that go on. I keep a lot of the stuff private because it actually doesn't contribute to my professional personal brand. But with that said, running a personal brand, if you have coaching or consulting services or whatever that looks like for you, you are often going to find yourself carrying the heavy, heavy weight of other people's opinions, commentary, feedback, all of it. And the thing that I need you to remind yourself, which is me literally saying this out loud for myself right now, is other people's lack of self awareness, self leadership, self accountability is not your problem, although they want it to be. Okay. And so I share this simply because over the last couple days, I feel like I've been bombarded with different things, whether it's, you know, content that I think might be about me or emails sent directly to me. Um, just things that I knew were going to happen once I started to open myself up to a more visible personal brand. But no one really prepares you for that kind of thing. And I mean, the way that I kind of just said all of that probably makes it sound like worst case scenario, like all these people are like talking shit. That's not really the case. I mean, I don't think that it is. I feel like I run a pretty like steady, stable, neutral business. But that leads me to my point. Like when we sense that other people might be talking about us, we have to shed that and tell ourselves that is not my weight to bear. We can just only stay really true to our own values and like what we believe is true for ourselves. And I mean, I know that I've always done everything out of integrity. I stand really, really solid in my values. Those I actually think are some of my best traits, honestly. I always just try, like at the end of the day, I'm like, can I have a clear conscience? Do I have a clear conscience? If the answer is yes, then that's that. And I just think with the personal branding and all of this, we have a tendency to take things a little bit personally, which of course we do. I mean, that's totally normal, but it's so funny that we brought up the Mel Robbins book, Let Them Personal Development, because entrepreneurship really is like the biggest personal development journey any of us will ever go on. It really forces you to take all of those like really icky things and like lay them all out on a table and like look at them. like like just look at all of them. And I think so without giving away like context or details, I got an email today where I was like, huh, okay, this is really, and I kind of get one of these every single month, and they're always from like different people or different relationships. But it's like an email where I'm like, mm, it immediately makes me feel a certain way. And then I realize how much of a projection it is. So that is kind of what I have been circling this morning. And I mean, I just fully like unloaded in this podcast episode. So I hope you're still with me. You know what's so funny? I actually found myself like it's a Monday as I'm recording this. I accidentally put Bailey's in my coffee this morning. I only do that on weekends, but for some reason my like muscle memory just like poured the Bailey's into my coffee, and I didn't even realize until I was like partway through drinking it. I was like, there's Bailey's in this. And I was not supposed to do that on a Monday. But that just goes to show where my brain has been kind of all over the place. And I think this episode probably ends up being more of a stream of consciousness. And I think that's okay. We have done lots of personal branding tips and PR tricks and more of that to come. But I think what's so important is this deeper connection to ourselves and awareness of how we are presenting, but also projecting. And that actually brings me exactly to the topic that I really wanted to cover today, which is your personal brand needs to be connected to a deeper purpose and to the things that you really, really want to be doing in your life and your business. So, what do I mean by this? Okay, so I generally, when new business owners, because I work with a lot of new business owners. So, I mean, for me, I've got like business owners across the spectrum. I have people that have been working in their business for like 60 years. Maybe it's a really big business and now they want to step out and have their own personal brand as an executive or a C suite, that sort of thing. Then I've got kind of like my mid tier people who have been running their business for maybe 5 years and they're like, why does nobody know who I am? I want to feel more famous for my work. And then I have the people who have just started their business, or maybe it's a new pivot and they're like, what do I do? Help me. And the thing that happens with most of those people is they think that they have to do the thing that's going to make them the most money. And that, my friends, is wrong. The thing that is going to make you the most money as a personal brand is the thing that you truly like love and want to be doing. Okay? So I see this a lot with clients. It's like they keep coming back to like, okay, well, who is the highest level client? Who is the client that's going to pay me the most money? And it becomes this like we're building our business around money, which we all know I've got my own money things, okay? I think I even brought up my own money things earlier in this episode. We can't make it about the money because if we do, we're showing up inauthentically. As a personal brand, you need to be rooted in your purpose, what you truly want to be doing, what you want to be spending your time doing, what you love doing, how you love serving, what you really, really want to be known for. That's the starting place. As soon as you attach it to a dollar figure, that's when shit's going to go downhill. Okay. And I want to be really, really clear because I think sometimes there's like this, I often think about like the Dragon's Den and the Shark Tank, and there's these people who have poured like hundreds and thousands of dollars into like products that maybe aren't that lucrative or selling that well. This conversation is exclusively for personal brands. So when just to like really make that clear. So if you're someone, maybe you're like, well, my product just isn't selling. This conversation isn't for you. This is for you. If you are a personal brand, if you want to, run events, be seen as a leader, receive brand partnerships, be a keynote speaker, be an author, run a community, you're a coach, you're a consultant, service-based business owner. You are the face of your business. This is who this conversation is for, because product-based business, not my area of expertise. So I just need to make that differentiation because sometimes we can get a little bit lost in the details. And this differentiation is really important because your personal brand, so whether you are offering different services or running an event series, maybe you run retreats and workshops and that's actually an income stream for you. All of these different things, if you are not showing up authentically and you don't really know what your purpose is, what's driving you, your audience is going to sense that. Your audience is going to know that something's off. And it's not like it's going to be a bad thing. They're just not going to buy from you, which I guess is a bad thing. So personal branding really is like the core of yourself and really linking that to your business. And that's what I love about this so much. And I'm going to give you the best example possible of why this is such an important message and model for me. So a year ago, literally a year ago, from almost this day, I was in a really dark place in my business. Low revenue, I wasn't bringing on new clients, I wasn't doing like any coaching, I wasn't showing up on social media, none of it. I was really trying to attract product-based business owners so I could run their PR campaigns because I knew that was low-hanging fruit leading into the holiday season. You know how many new clients, product-based businesses I signed in that kind of 3-month period leading up to the holidays? 0. I hit my hat on the microphone. Literally 0. Because obviously I was not connected to that mission, but I was doing it because I knew it was going to be fast, easy money. And you know what? And it ended up not being either of those things because the universe was like, Katrina, why are you still trying to go after these clients who don't see the value in personal branding when you know that's really what's going to drive the results for their business when it comes to PR efforts right now? And I just couldn't see it at the time because I was convinced, I let someone else tell me that the clients I was attracting for so long weren't the right type of clients. But you know what? My group program, my Fame Ready Entrepreneur program, is the most profitable arm of my business right now. And my clients get insane results inside the Fame Ready Entrepreneur program. Right before I recorded this, I was messaging with a woman who's doing her very first keynote presentation in a couple weeks, and she's a client inside the program. And just being able to support people like that is my pride and joy. I mean, I do this podcast to show you that anything is possible, not because I'm 10 steps ahead of most of you that are listening to this, but because I'm like 2 or 3 steps ahead of you. And that should show you even more that anything is possible for you because I am not that far ahead. So it just takes really leaning in to, the stuff that I teach, the stuff that I tell you to achieve similar results or whatever you want those results to be for yourself. So a couple weeks ago, I sat down with one of my clients and we're mapping out a visibility plan for the next, I think for her it was like kind of like the next 6 months of her business. And I kept asking her, what is your big goal? What is the big dreamy vision? And all she could tell me is dollar figures, revenue amounts. And I was like, no, this is not the dreamy vision. Like, if we're just dreaming about what our bank account looks like, we're not going to build a business that feels good, that feels aligned, and probably isn't really that successful. And this is someone who had already built a very successful business, by the way. And actually, what's funny? Another book drop. You guys know I love reading Love reading these days. Um, the book I'm reading right now is The Psychology of Money. So it's like a collection of different money related essays. And the one that I was reading last night is about this concept of having enough. And of course, it's great to aspire for more, to, want to achieve more. The goalposts are always going to keep moving, especially when we're high achievers. But I was actually thinking about this client as I was reading this, because this is someone who has already achieved a very admirable dollar figure amount in her business. So for her, the next step shouldn't just be more money, right? The next step should actually be, okay, well, what do you really want to be doing? But she actually couldn't have or didn't have that really big dreamy vision because it was all just tied to revenue and dollar figures. And that is where this inner work, I mean, I do all of this inner work in the living in balance space. Really amazing female entrepreneur mentorship program that has honestly changed my life and has really shifted my inner world. I'm going to leave the link to learn more in the show notes, just in case you're ever interested in learning more or checking it out. But I honestly come across people like this, like my client, and I'm like, God, you need to join Living in Balance. Because I can just tell when that inner work hasn't been done yet. Because for me, I know firsthand how important it is to build this aligned business. And when we do, that's when the money comes. Last fall, I was trying so hard to attract all of these different product-based business owners. Just whatever clients would pay me the most money was what I was looking for. And what happened is I had my lowest revenue months ever. And then once I sat down with one of the senior mentors from Living in Balance, she had me break down all of the different revenue streams in my business. And we actually determined what was the most profitable, and not only profitable, but what did I actually enjoy doing and what was the most different in the market. It was my coaching programs. And she literally said to me on November 1st, 2024, I will never forget, because that was the day that I really oh, it makes me emotional talking about it. I was not expecting to cry on a Monday morning, but I think because I'm so close to my full year of that, she said to me, from now on, you only focus on these two things and you're going to scale them to a certain amount and then you can focus on something else. And I haven't achieved that financial goal yet, and that's fine. I'm working on it, still in progress, but I flipped my entire business. I, this year, have essentially made the same amount of revenue that I did last year, running an entirely different business. That's an incredible achievement that I don't think most people would be able to do. Before that, I was running an agency, right? I do not offer any agency services anymore. It's all coaching, brand partnerships, event revenue, speaking revenue. So that's a really incredible place to be. And I know it's me always coming back to okay, well, what feels good, what feels authentic. And I think, what's interesting is you can make this decision, right? You can decide that, okay, I am, like me last year on November 1st, 2024, I was like, okay, this is all I sell now. Here we go. There have been many tests over the last year of different people wanting me to do their PR for them, different opportunities that would have paid a lot of money but have been completely unaligned. I am constantly swerving from these opportunities that sound really lucrative, but just so not aligned with what I really want to be doing. And I actually, and this kind of brings me full circle to what I was talking about at the beginning of this episode, I have had to be so grounded in what I know my purpose is and how that links to my goals that I'm strong enough to say no to those things. And you know what that means is sitting through moments where I'm like, was that the right choice? Did I just turn down a bunch of money when I shouldn't have? And I would continue to kind of question if I had made the right choice or not. And that's also, like, not a super fun place to be, right? We don't wanna be questioning, but I think a big reason why I have been so successful in growing my personal brand is I have the strength to trust and actually also surrender, because I know that in running my business, I have done enough. Yes, there's always an opportunity to learn more, to be more efficient, to look at where the gaps are, all of that. But I'm not the person that spends like, late nights working on my business, trying to figure out what's wrong, trying to, um, manipulate and like engineer and like all these things. I work on my business so much and so hard, but I also have an amazing ability to surrender a part of that to God, to the universe, to whoever you believe in. And that really is the magical part for me. I actually will just get to a point where I'm like, okay, I've done enough. The rest is up to God. The rest is up to the universe. And when I decide or when I choose to do that, so many amazing things happen and things always work out. And I'm sharing this right now where, my event that's happening towards the end of October, it's 50% sold out. So that sounds great, but that's still like, there's still 50% left of tickets to sell. And with events, people are last minute. They just are. I know that. So it's me being willing to sit in this absolute discomfort, knowing that the remaining 50% of tickets are going to sell, but I have to trust, I have to surrender that, knowing that my marketing and what I choose to, put out PR wise, social media wise, digital ads wise, trust that that's going to work and draw the right people in. But some of that isn't up to me. And at the end of the day, I think that's what a lot of people need to realize. Like, no one is going to build a successful personal brand overnight. And that's what a lot of people expect. I'm now coming up on a full year of building this brand, building my coaching programs. And I have stayed so committed to what I'm building, my programs and services, my brand. And I have to tell you guys, like, let me count. So November, December, January, February. I mean, like, I want to say the first 6 months, so, starting last November, the first 6 months of like really like digging into my personal brand and saying, like, okay, I'm only offering coaching services, like, they were slow. Okay. I know everybody sees the sparkly opportunities that I have now and they all seem to compound on each other. Yes. Like, that's a big deal. And that's obviously a big result of how much work I've put in. But the first 6 months of like really committing to my personal brand, it's not like it all happened right at once. And this is what I see a lot of people doing. They don't see the results fast enough. And so they question if they've made the right choice. And this year has been my year of self-trust. And so I just trust, obviously, as you guys can probably tell now, I just trust that I've done enough. But most people don't have that trust yet. So a lot of the time you think you have a business problem, you actually have an inner problem, a personal problem. And once you can fix that, oh, I just know like so much magic is going to happen for you. But it really takes being honest with yourself, staying true to your values, rooted in integrity. And at the same time, just know people are going to question that sometimes. People are going to do things that like kind of shake you, kind of rattle you. But the really amazing part about being a personal brand and being a business owner is you get to choose how you respond. And I highly, highly recommend, giving yourself 24 hours to respond to anything. That's usually my go-to. I try to workshop a response right away. And, I might go back and forth with ChatGPT and that helps me just kind of clear some of it out of my system. But I never ever sit down, draft an email, and push send until I've had time to just kind of sit with everything. And I think that's what one of the things that has made me form really strong client relationships and be so successful in doing this. But that self-awareness, you guys, that self-accountability is just so important. I'm just kind of thinking about some of the encounters that I've had over the last couple days, and I have to just keep coming back to knowing that, I've always been here doing enough, serving from a place that feels really true to me. And unfortunately, not every single person is going to be able to meet you where you're at. And once you can acknowledge that, once you know that whatever they're projecting onto you is actually not a reflection of you, it's a projection of whatever they're kind of dealing with. Maybe they feel like they're falling short in different ways. Maybe they wish that they were a better friend. All of those things, whatever they're saying to you or about you is coming from a place where they're feeling that about themselves in some way. And I think, God, doing this podcast episode has helped me kind of work through some of that icky stuff that was clogging up my energy today. Cause you know what? You guys, it is the beginning of a new month. It's Libra season, which means my birthday is coming soon. I'm about to have a really, really amazing month. Um, Honestly, it's gonna be really, really great. So, I guess I'm feeling better now. I'm glad you, all tuned in to kinda listen to me work through some of this stuff, but honestly, I know that someone listening to this, probably everybody, is gonna benefit from this conversation in some way, so I'm so glad we had the opportunity to have it, honestly. Um I'm really excited for the next month ahead, you guys, and I really hope that you will stay in touch with me through it all. If you can't come to my in-person event, I really hope you can jump into the Fame Ready Entrepreneur Program this month. I'm running some incredible offers for the women inside the program, but also for anyone that's interested in joining. The price is going to go up in November 2025. So if you've been thinking about joining the Fame Ready Entrepreneur Program, now is your time to get in at the lowest price it will ever be. And thank you guys so much for this. It's always such a pleasure. And make sure you follow me on Instagram at Katrina Owens PR. You can follow the podcast at Get Fame Ready. And I'll see y'all next Wednesday. Toodles.